After months of tension and talks came the moment many had feared.
Ukraine is under attack. Explosions were heard across the country before sunrise.
I decided to conduct a special military operation.
Not long after this announcement, Russian troops crossed the border into Ukraine, and explosions were heard in cities around the country.
Oh, I tell you what, I just heard a big bang. There are big explosions taking place in Kiev right now.
It's scary. We didn't believe that this situation would come.
Shattered, not for myself, I don't care about my own safety, I care about Ukraine.
The Russian president, Vladimir Putin, said the military operation was about protecting people in regions of Ukraine that he has chosen to recognise as independent. Lots of people in these regions speak Russian and have close cultural ties with Russia, and these parts were already controlled by groups loyal to Russia. But most people in Ukraine and around the world saw this as an unprovoked attack and an invasion of a democratic country.
What we have heard today are not just missile blasts, fighting and the rumble of aircraft. This is the sound of a new Iron Curtain, which has come down and is closing Russia off from the civilised world.
Ukraine's president says the country will fight back. He's declared martial law, which means the military takes control over day-to-day running of the country. And he's asked for anyone who knows how to fight to join the Ukrainian army. Meanwhile, leaders around the world spoke out against Russia.
This invasion is unjustified, it's unwarranted, it's unprovoked, and it's unacceptable.
I'm driven to conclude that Putin was always determined to attack his neighbour, no matter what we did.
Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war, and now he and his country will bear the consequences.
But they said they won't send soldiers to Ukraine. Instead, they'll bring in sanctions.
In concert with our allies, we will agree a massive package of economic sanctions.
So, what is a sanction? Well, it's basically a way of punishing a country, a business, or even an individual. Usually by taking away their ability to trade, travel, or do business in other countries. As you probably know, most countries rely on being able to buy, sell, and travel to and from each other. And stopping that can have a big impact on their economies. The idea is that by hurting them economically, sanctions can change the country's behaviour without having to go to war. So far, a whole bunch of countries, including the US, Australia, along with the UK and EU, have brought in sanctions against Russia, which include blocking some trade and stopping some banks and some powerful Russian people, including Vladimir Putin himself, from doing business in other countries. Germany has decided to hold back on certifying a huge pipeline that was set to deliver Russian natural gas, and leaders say there could be more sanctions to come.
We have purposely designed these sanctions to maximize the long-term impact on Russia.
So, will it work? Well, there's a fair bit of debate about how effective sanctions are. Sometimes in the past, they've had unintended consequences and hurt ordinary people instead of leaders. But this time, many are hoping they'll put pressure on those at the top. Still, some say more needs to be done. Around the world, there have been protests against the invasion, including in Russia, where thousands of people have been arrested at anti-war demonstrations. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, people are doing what they can to stay safe. Some are trying to leave the country or travel to areas where there's less fighting. Others have been sheltering underground in metro stations or wherever they can. Many countries, including Australia, have promised to take in refugees and send supplies, while the world watches and hopes for an end to this terrible situation.